Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Crystal and this is my social thread. So today I have another Friday sews vlog for you. I can never say that straight. Friday sews vlog for you. It is Friday the 7th, Friday the 7th of October, and I will be showing you my heather blazer, which I have done as a collaboration with Claire from Stitch Home Sew and Adele from Sew for Serenity. I will also be showing you my Tamarack Grain Line Studio Tamarack jacket, which I've turned into a coat, and also a baby sort of gift set that I have made this past week, and also a tiny fabric haul at the end. So I hope you do enjoy my channel. If you don't already subscribe, please kindly do so, and please tell your other sewing friends, if you do like my content, to spread the word that I am here and I am offering something different, or maybe just another type of content for sewing enthusiasts out there. Okay, first and foremost, wearing my Tilly and the Buttons Billy jumper. I have just recorded this video straight after my plans vlog, so I am wearing the same thing, unfortunately, sorry. So the first thing that I made this month, although actually the heather blazer was supposed to have been made last month and revealed last month, but there were just a couple of delays between the three of us and we weren't able to get it out until now. So let me just show you. Friday Pattern Company heather blazer is what we've decided to do, and it's a lovely blazer pattern. Line drawings, so it's quite a boxy loose fit. You've got lapels and a collar, button closure, patch pockets, two-piece sleeve, center back seam there. There's no back vent, and it is quite a straight fit, fully lined as well. So the I did make a toile, like a really basic toile, and I had done the small, but I found that the arms were too small, or not too small, they were too tight, you know, like you can get it on, but then when you move your arms, I hate that restriction, especially since I'm going to wear something underneath it, which means I would need more ease. So I ended up then doing the medium, which is a I have it here. I ended up doing a medium, which is a bust of 36 to 37 inches and a waist of 28 to 29 inches. Now, my measurements are actually bigger than that, but because it is a boxy fit, it fits perfectly. And I think I chose the right size to do for that. Instructions were very good, actually. I was a bit daunted by, it was a bit daunting starting the project because there are a lot of pieces, and then it's ×2 because of the lining as well. But actually and also the interfacing for some parts, and you need knit interfacing and woven interfacing, which is fine in itself. But once I'd cut it all out, it was actually a relatively easy sew, and I really actually enjoyed it. The only pattern, well, the last pattern that I haven't enjoyed recently is the Closet Core Elodie wrap dress. I don't know why I didn't like doing that at all, but the resulting dress was lovely, and I have to apologize for that pattern because it was a lovely pattern in the end. So this particular pattern I really enjoyed sewing it up. The instructions were very good. Let me show you again, similarly like their salt water slip, the back piece, the center back piece is not straight. It kind of has a bit of a bend there, which is nice, and I think that's just for the small of your back, so it kind of curves to the small of your back slightly. I mean, it's not too exaggerated, so I think that's quite nice detailing. Also with the collar, I find sometimes with coats or with jackets and collars and things, that can be the most tricky bit because you kind of have to pivot, you kind of, you know, have to do all sorts of things, and this collar was actually kind of pieced together on a flat, and it actually came together really beautifully. Like, I didn't find anything tricky at all, which was really nice. I love the way that the lining was attached. It's almost like a, what's it called, a bagging out method, but slightly different in that the bottom, you know, at the bottom of the lining, when it attaches to the main fabric, you don't have to, normally you would have to slip stitch that by hand, but this was all done on the reverse, and then when I turned it inside out, it was all fully enclosed, and the only opening was the center back seam of the lining, where you would then have to slip stitch that, to be fair, to finish off the blazer. But it was a really lovely sew, really cleverly constructed. The only thing that I found was a bit difficult was the instructions for actually hemming, which sounds really odd. The instructions for hemming, like the words that they use and the thing that they use here, and even they say so themselves. It says hemming up the heather blazer is pretty easy, but it does require accuracy and can be a little tricky to convey in instructions alone, illustrations alone. So they do have a video tutorial for this, which is great. Although when I came to looking at the blazer and looking at the instructions, it became really, you know, it became easy then to see what was going on, and it was actually quite a quick process to do. What's the other thing that I wanted to say? Let me show you the blazer. So the blazer is here. Now, please don't laugh at my choice of fabric. I really like it, but my children and my husband don't think it's suitable to be worn outdoors. So I went for I mean, my husband said it does look like a curtain, and to be fair, the reason it does look like a curtain is because it is curtain fabric. I've used sort of upholstery curtain fabric from a curtain shop, and it's a floral curtain fabric, and there you go. I actually really like it. I've got a handmade leather label there from, I think it's from So Anonymous, I'm not sure, and this metal hook here from Prim, fully lined inside. I've done the patch pockets here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pattern match because I only bought 2 meters of this, and I bought this ages ago, and I didn't have enough fabric basically to pattern match. So my pockets aren't pattern match, which actually isn't too bad, as in, like, I don't think it's glaringly an eyesore, but the eyesore I do think is at the back, because the back isn't pattern matched at all. So here's a center back seam, and I find this side is a bit more colorful and darker, sort of reddy brownies, and this sort of is sort of bluey creamy. So I think that is kind of a bit of an eyesore. If you're a sewist, I think if nobody knew I had made it, they would have just thought this is a really lovely ready to wear blazer, I think, anyway. So the collar, I will show you the notched collar there, the lapels, the sleeves, beautifully set in, if I don't say so myself. Oh, and the lining, let me show you the lining there. And again, with this lining, you sew it from the inside, so you don't have to slip stitch afterwards, which I find is really amazing. And also it just gives you a really nice neat finish without the need to hand stitch that. Likewise with the hem. Again, beautifully enclosed at the bottom there without the need to stitch it afterwards. So the only thing that I would say that I would change next time, because if you have watched my plans vlog for October, I have got another heather blazer planned. I'm making a long line version, so it will essentially be a single breasted winter coat. I think that I think that because it is a bit of a boxy fit, I am going to take it in at the waist by maybe an inch, like grade it out to an inch and then grade it back in again, so there is a tiny bit of shaping at the waist. The only other thing is I find that the pockets, let me stand up, I find that the pockets, so here's the pocket bag here, I find that the pockets are too close to the end of the blazer, and I found that when I was ironing it, I think I would have to lengthen that blazer. If I was to make this length again, I would lengthen the blazer by a tiny bit, because I wouldn't raise the pocket, because I think it's the perfect height for my hands to go through, to sit in a natural way. So I would lengthen the blazer by a little bit, so I have a bit of fabric underneath the pocket. As it stands at the moment, I literally have like 5 millimeters of fabric there, and you can't see it because it kind of folds over because of the seam that's there. And yes, so I'll pop up some photos of me wearing it. Now, I really like it, but my children, and they said it in a nice way, they didn't say it in like a horrible way. They were sort of like, oh mom, it's really nice, but I don't think it's it's a bit too loud. Like, I don't normally wear loud things, especially at this time of the year where everybody's sort of toning down their color palettes. So it is very loud, they say. And also my husband did kind of compare it to sort of an 80s air stewardess uniform. I mean, I don't know what airline he's talking about, but I really like it. I hope you like the photos as well. And in hindsight, I can see that it may be a bit too loud, because I was asking pretty much all of my children, so that's 8 children and my husband, their opinions sort of over and over again with different outfits underneath. And I think the reason why I was asking them that is because I know in myself that it is a bit too loud for me, and I probably wouldn't wear it out and feel comfortable wearing it out. So having said that, I have then not finished the I haven't what's this called, I haven't slip stitched, or not slip stitched, what would you call it? It's the ladder stitch. I haven't finished the centre back seam, and I also haven't put a button here because I don't think I will probably be wearing it out. But I am very happy with it. Having said that though, I think the pattern is amazing, and I think the way I have sewn it is really, really good. So much so that I have, as I say, planned another heather blazer for this month. The next, let me just see my notes. The heather blazer, is it the heather blazer? Yes, it is. Yes, heather blazer. Yeah, the only other thing that I did that they didn't say in the pattern was I overlocked the sides and the bottom of my pockets, because they don't tell you to do that. And also I put a triangle stitch at the top of the pockets. So they just tell you to stitch all the way down. I've got, I don't know if you can see that triangle that goes that way. There's a triangle stitch at the top of the pockets, and it just prevents that from ripping, because I know other patterns tell you to do that. And also I know from ready to wear clothes, they do have this kind of triangular stitch there so that it kind of reinforces the pocket. And that's it really. Everything else is the same. The pockets don't have any pocket bags as well, which is fine. If you're using sort of a stiff fabric, and that's sort of like a canvas curtain fabric, which, as I say, is what I have used. And that's that. So that's my heather. I will pop up a photo of Claire wearing hers, and I will put a link to her vlog at the bottom of the description. It may not happen today, but I will update it as soon as I get it, because I am off to London this afternoon for the knitting and stitching show tomorrow. So this will be scheduled for tomorrow. Adele's photos I don't believe are ready as yet. So again, I will pop her link to her vlog on there at some point, so you can see theirs. And I'll also post photos on Instagrams with link to their accounts as well. The next thing that I've made this month is the Tamarack coat by Grain Line Studios. So it's a Tamarack jacket. So it's this one here. And it's basically a quilted jacket, very simple. You've got 2 front pieces, a back piece, 2 sleeves, and then the binding. You also have welt pockets there. I chose to use pre-quilted fabric, which eliminated quite a lot of the instructions, because it does go through how to quilt your pattern pieces. So that's going to be quite labor intensive as well. And also I omitted the welt pockets. I just used normal side pockets because my fabric is quite thick. I'll show you in a bit, and it wouldn't have worked with that. And also I lengthened mine to sort of just above the knee length, which I like. And this goes up from a size, did I tell you the measurements of the other one? This goes up starts from a size 0, bust of 32, waist of 25, all the way up to a size 18, bust of 44, waist of 37. I decided to go for a size 12, which is a bust of 38, waist of 31. And I just went according to my bust measurements, because the waist, it is quite a boxy, loose fit. So I didn't have to worry about the waist so much. It was just the bust. I was thinking of actually going bigger, because my fabric is padded and quite thick. But then having looked at the, I did do a bit of research of people that have made it previously, and they just went for their normal size, because I think the pattern does include ease for clothes that you're wearing and for the quilting of the fabric, which is really, really great. And my version is here. Ta-da! Here it is. So I have chosen this lovely pre-quilted fabric from Fabric Godmother. It's denim on the outside, and then it's teddy fleece on the inside. And I really, really love it. I have chosen some hemline heavy duty snaps for the buttons. I'll show you the buttons there. Oh, sorry, there's a bit of a stain there, which is annoying. That's actually from the iron. You know when you get like that burnt bit on the iron, and it's a shame that it's on the front bit and it's right on my chest, which is a bit annoying, but I will try and get that out. So some hemline snaps there. And then I just chose the Tilly and the Buttons indigo pattern, pocket pattern pieces to go on the side there. And I've chosen to have the fleece as the inner part. So now the only thing with choosing that is obviously that kind of opens now and again. It doesn't come out, but from the side, because the fabric is quite thick, it does remain open, so you can see that white part, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it's a good thing in the sense that the furry bit is much warmer for my hands, but I think aesthetically it would probably be better if it was darker. But I've done it now, and function trumps aesthetics in this regard, particular occasion. And I have just used, so basically what you do is, it's basically bias bound all the way around, and the seams as well. I have bias bound all the seams all the way on the inside. So all the seams are bias bound. This is the hood there. All bias bound all the way around. So now they tell you that you need 1/2 inch double folded bias tape. And from my understanding, I did do some research. So I've got some bias binding here. The 1/2 inch you measure from this flat bit. You don't include the folds for the 1/2 inch. So that is 1/2 inch there. I'll show you the measurements. Let's just say, so that's 1/2 inch there, as you can see. And then obviously you would fold that over, and that would trim your whole coat. Now to me, that is really, really narrow. And if I fold it over, that is very, very narrow. Now that I wouldn't mind doing that on like a cotton of some sort. But the fabric that I chose, let me show you some remnants. The fabric that I chose was quite thick. I mean, it's quite thick. And presumably most of the fabrics that you would choose for this coat would be thicker than a cotton, or like a single layer of fabric, because you've got the outer fabric, the wadding, and the inner fabric. So I'm not quite sure why they've said that, unless I'm measuring it wrong. And I mean, I don't know. So I bought this. I bought 10 meters of it because I've extended it, and also I wanted to bind all of the insides as well. But I just thought I'm never going to be able to get that around the edging of that coat. And so instead I bought a 1 inch twill tape, cotton twill tape instead. And I basically just ironed it over to make my own kind of bias binding. And I don't need to do the tiny folds on the inside, because obviously twill tape will not fray. And if I fold that in half, that I believe is a good width to trim a coat and cover all the seams inside. So that's what I went for instead. So I bought 10 meters of this navy twill tape, and I just ironed it, as I said, in half, and used that to bias bind all of my edges. So the coat is very simple to make. As I say, it's just 2 front pieces, a back, sleeves. It does come with a extension pack, which is the hood. So you can either have the collar, that's a part of the extension pack, or the hood, which I only discovered by chance when I was looking at people's other makes. Somebody had made a hood, and I was sort of like, oh, how did you hack that? How did you make it? And it turns out they do have the hood extension pack. But when you go into Brainline Studio, if you type in like Tamarack, it doesn't automatically come up. So you've got the Tamarack coat, but then you actually have to type in hood or Tamarack hood, oddly, for it to come up, which I think is a bit of a shame, because if I had just typed in Tamarack and both the extension and the pattern came up, I would have bought it immediately. But it took me researching online, and I did actually want a hood. It took me researching online to actually find it. Anyway, I found it now, so I decided to put obviously the hood on. And for those of you that do follow me, you will know that my plan for this was to have sort of like a house coat, because our house is quite old, and the ceilings are quite high, the rooms are quite large, and it is quite hard to heat the place. And I thought this would be a lovely house coat. Now that I've got it, it's actually too warm. This is just like amazingly warm fabric. It's just so toasty. And I think also with the hood, it doesn't work as a house coat. I think if I had just used the normal neckline without the hood, then maybe it would pass as a house coat. So in hindsight now, when it gets a bit cold in the house, I will just kind of go for like a coatigan style. So sort of like a coat cardigan type thing for inside. But this will make a lovely casual winter coat, and I really love it. Let me show you some photos of me wearing it. So the only thing that I don't like about this so far is that actually, like I say, the pockets sort of, you can see that fabric. It's not the end of the world. And also where I've placed it, I think it's an inch too low. So my hands fit in perfectly, but it's just, I would have just liked it a bit higher. So an inch higher is what I would do next time. And then also I don't like this hood, this seam at the hood. I think it just looks a bit abrupt. I don't know, like when you've got it down, let me show you. I don't know, it just looks a bit abrupt, like it's not supposed to be there, or I've somehow damaged it and had to, like, you know, rework it or something. So if I make this again next time, the reason I say if, I love the coat pattern, but I don't think I've got any other sort of pre-quilted fabric that I could use for it, or fabric that I've seen in the shops that would work nicely for it at this moment in time, but maybe next winter. So I think next time I will just try and reshape the hood just to have like a pointy bit as you normally would have a hood, so it's almost, yeah, just like a point at the end. So that's the one thing I would change. Oh, and also these snaps, I'm not too sure if I'm happy with them, because they look nice, but some of them don't close properly. So the top one, you could, that's a really nice that's a really nice closure, but some of them don't actually close properly, and I'm not sure what I've done wrong. So that one won't close properly. So maybe I've hammered it in too much or not enough. I'm not quite sure. So I have to fiddle around with that. But apart from that, I really, really like it. And it's very, very snuggly, and it's perfect for this time of the year. So that's that. The last thing that I have managed to finish this week is a sort of newborn set that I made for my nephew, my new baby nephew, who's also my godson. And I made a brindle and twig 43 footy coverall. It's essentially a baby grow with a button placket. And then I made a matching hat, which is a slightly different pattern. It was just from Etsy. And this particular brindle and twig pattern goes from a size preemie all the way up to a 2 to 3 year old pattern. And then I also made a self-drafted blanket to match, and I will show you that pattern. Oh, that set here. I've already got it all. Ta-da! Oh, that's the hat. That's my little hat. So it's, I don't know what these are called, like a little tie hat. Lovely white cotton jersey there with a beautiful animal print, contrasted with grey ribbing. And this is the baby grow. Hello, baby. It's the cuffs and the lovely button placket, and I've chosen just some white snaps to go on there. And these are the feet. I've put a little tag as well on the side. Yep. Just put a little tag. It says unique on the side, and then the foot soles are grey to match the button placket and the cuff. So that's that little baby grow set there. And then I also made a matching blanket. So it's basically just a triangle of the fabric. I'll show you the print there. It's a beautiful watercolor print, but it's not too babyish because it's quite detailed. Cotton jersey on white. I can't remember where I bought this from now, which is really annoying, but it was a company on Facebook. And then I've backed it with some of this Dobby kind of fleece white fabric from Pound Fabrics. And it's quite a substantial size, which I quite like. Unfortunately this fabric, I don't know where I got it from now, but the ribbing and the white Dobby fabric I got from Pound Fabrics. And that's all I've made this past week. So that's already eating into my plans, which is really good. And then the last things I wanted to show you was a bit of a fabric haul. I made a purchase from Sew Me Sunshine. I think they were doing a 20% off their whole website, like a summer sale. So I ended up getting 3 pieces of fabric. Firstly, I got some lovely viscose. This fabric. So teal background, large flowers. I am a very florally person. I like that. So I bought 4 meters for that, and my plan for that is the Wilder gown by Friday Pattern Company. But when I ordered when the fabric arrived, the pile looked quite small. And I thought, hang on a second, that doesn't look like 4 meters. And so I measured it, and actually I was only given 3 meters. And so I emailed them straight away, and I had to make a little video of me measuring the fabric, and it was only 3 meters. And they were very quick to apologize. And they said, I'm really, really sorry. I don't know how that happened. I have 2 choices. Either I return that fabric and they give me the 4 meters as a whole piece, or they will give me 1.5 meters in the post, so I get an additional ½ meter extra. And I went for that option. And so this is the 1.5 meters extra. And I thought that was really, really resolved quite quickly. So that's my plan for that one. I then also bought 2 jerseys. So this is, oh no, this is actually a loop back French terry, in a sort of, I don't know what kind of green this is, like a dark green with a mustard stripe. And I'm planning, what am I planning for this? The Tabitha, no, Tilly and the Buttons, either the Tabitha t-shirt long sleeve version or the Freya cowl neck top. So that's my plan for that. And then another jersey from Sew Me Sunshine again. Is it a jersey? Yeah, this one's a cotton jersey. So the other stripe was a fleece back French, not loop back French terry. This is a cotton jersey, and it's basically black with sort of leaves and flowers. Now, when I saw this, I really, really liked it, and I do like it, but in real life it looks a lot more Christmassy. But I mean, it's fine. I will still obviously use it. I bought 3 meters of each, and again, the same thing. Tilly and the Buttons Freya cowl neck dress, or the Tabitha t-shirt long sleeve. And then the last things that I bought was from Jenny Stitches Fabrics, because I bought, I submitted my blog post for last month, and that was the Sew Over It vintage shirt dress, which you will be seeing next month when she releases it on her blog. And every time you submit a post for her, she then also gifts you a £30 gift voucher, which is really amazing. So I bought some fabrics with that. I went over the £30, but and so I bought some lovely viscose challis, navy with dots, which is really, really lovely. And I'm planning 4 meters of that, so I'm planning another wilder gown for that. I've not made a wilder gown before, and it looks relatively easy, so I'm planning a few of those as winter dresses. And then the last thing I bought was this lovely soft sweater net in an olive herringbone. And I'll show you the reverse. It's just a lovely sort of knitted reverse. Lovely knitted reverse there. And again, similar things, the cowl neck, Tilly and the Buttons Freya cowl neck dress, or the Tabitha t-shirt dress, a long sleeve, something like that is what I'm after for those jersey fabrics. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. So when this goes out, I would have already been to the knitting and stitching show. And hopefully would have bought only a few pieces of fabric, and I will hopefully show you at next week's Friday sews and talk to you about all of that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.